Wasn't it amazing? Yes. I think they deserve another round of applause. Can we clap for them? By the way, that skit is called King of Hearts. King of Hearts is the title of the skit. It reminds me of some SMSs I had read recently, concerning heartbreaks. One of them said, everything is fair in love and war. I'm sure you heard that. And then it goes on to say, somebody said after that, I suggest you war, not love. Because in war you either die or live. But in love you neither die nor live. So you're in a big dilemma. Something is going wrong. There's another one that I read. It says, I don't know why they call it heartbreak. It feels like every part of my body is broken. And so it's kind of crazy. So were you able to follow the skit? Yes? Yeah? Can you tell me some things which you understood from the skit? Anybody? What did you understand? You all followed, right? Yes, okay, excellent. Now, so let's just hear something. What did you feel the skit was about? Just shout out. Yeah?
Mask people wear and innocent.
Okay, the mask people wear and the innocent. What do you say? Bad people. Oh my goodness. Where are the characters?
All of them were broken-hearted.
All of them were broken-hearted, okay. Anything else? Anything else? Okay, you also, how many characters were there in the skit? Four, and there was one more who was acting like Jesus over there. So there was one first character who was standing. What was she doing?
Miss Hoity-Toity.
Miss Hoity-Toity. Oh, I heard that for the first time. That's quite a nice one. Okay, she's like the famous girl in the college. Well known. She looks very good. She's quite beautiful. Or maybe she wants to look very good. So she puts a lot of creams, makeup, fair and lovely, and all those things. She does all that kind of stuff. You would have seen she looked in the mirror and she was like, wow. She was just admiring herself. She just enjoyed the way she was. I mean, you even saw that when she went, maybe to college or whatever, she's like the one who gives flying kisses, waving her hand wherever she goes. She's probably the friend you want to have, boys you want to have in college or something like that, But when she removes the mask, what do you see? She's actually not very impressed with what she sees, isn't it? She then doesn't like what she sees inside herself, her true self, her heart, what her life is about is not that great. Then she's not very impressed with what she has to see in the mirror. You saw she threw the mirror away. She was not very happy because she knew there are things in her life which are actually broken, things in her life which are not very comfortable to look at. She was broken-hearted in some way or the other. Then you saw a second guy. Who was he? The funny guy. He's like the joker around. He's jumping around. Saying hi, cracking all the jokes. He's like the guy who everybody wants to have as a friend. He keeps cracking jokes. He constantly makes people laugh. He's got a great sense of humor. I've had friends like that. You had friends like that? Yeah, they are constantly cracking jokes. They have a huge friend circle. They have many jokes on their sleeve. They can keep making you laugh, and so that's their speciality. But when he removed his mask, when he was alone in his room, you saw he was very sad. He was feeling very sad in his heart. For the world around him, he was the funny guy, the laughing guy. But when he's alone, only he knows what he's going through. The world doesn't see his sorrow. Only he knows the sadness that is there in his life. Probably he's come from a broken family, where his parents are fighting, or maybe a dysfunctional family, and something is going wrong in his life. You even saw that he had suicidal tendencies, and so there are people like that around us. You've seen them? I'm sure you must have seen some of them. Then there was another guy. What was he doing? The fighter. He was trying to be like a fighter. That's Varun, and he's got a nice height and build and everything, and so this guy is a fighter. He goes fighting around. He's the don't mess with me guys. मेरे साथ पंगा नहीं लेने का. हमारे बाकी सब पानी कम है. So he is very critical. Always has something critical to say about others. Constantly has negative comments. You would notice this guy finds it very difficult to appreciate others. And probably he's doing this. Probably he's so aggressive. Because he wants to defend himself. You notice when he removed the mask, what happened? He was hiding. He said, don't hit me. Don't. The guy who was jumping around and doing kickboxing and all those things, all of a sudden he's like, please, don't hit me. A smallish statement can break him down. He's unable to take any kind of feedback, any kind of correction, any kind of, hey, this thing is not right in your life. My goodness, how could someone say that to me? You just break apart. And so that's the guy. Probably he's trying to be aggressive only because he wants to defend himself. Yeah? He's being very, trying to show himself strong because he doesn't want anybody to attack. He's scared that somebody will attack him. So he's showing himself strong on the outside. Then there was a fourth girl. What was she doing? That one was not very clear, was it? You got it? What was the fourth one doing?
Yeah,
She was
Affecting others.
pointing to others, doing what? Pointing to others, being bossy, okay, blaming others, dominating,
Right and wrong.
right and wrong. I'll tell you what I saw. I saw her going, you're all nobodies. Me, I'm a somebody. She thinks she's good. She thinks she's the one who needs to be consulted concerning each and everything. She's. Don't try to teach me. How can you teach me? You heard this statement before? No, I've heard this statement many times. There's certain movies also. तो अपने बाप को सिखाएगा. And so there are people who don't try to teach me guys. But when she removes the mask, you see that she's constantly falling. She's actually blind concerning her decisions. She's constantly making mistakes, falling down. And she's probably the one who keeps bumping into bad experiences. One after the other. This bad experience, then that bad experience. One after the other, keeps making mistakes. And she also doesn't enjoy her life. But then, probably some of you in the room over here identify with some of the characters that were shown here. Maybe you see that in your life. Or maybe you're just wearing a mask different to what they were wearing. Maybe you're wearing a mask to cover who you are. Maybe you're wearing a mask to cover what you're disappointed with in yourself. Probably you're wearing a mask to cover your fears, or to cover what you're ashamed about. Maybe you're wearing a mask to cover what you're embarrassed about. You see something in your life which you're not very happy about. And so you want to cover it. You don't want to show it to others. Or probably you're wearing a mask just to please your friends. They shouldn't see that side of me, otherwise they will not be my friend. Maybe there's a fear of being rejected. And so on. But then you see Jesus enters the scene. And he knows where the problem is. He knows the problem is not the mask. The main problem is not the mask. Although the mask is wrong, the mask is a problem actually. But the main problem was with their heart. You saw he came and he removed that heart of theirs. And there was a new heart that was there in that place. And he saw there was a problem with their heart. Now many of us over here would say, मैं दिल का अच्छा है. मैं दिल का अच्छा आदमी, मैं दिल का अच्छा लड़की है, औरत है, whatever. And so you would say that, but that's not true actually. Many of you would think, how can you say that? We all know in our heart that we have little wickedness in it, little bit, very little. Yeah, some element of wickedness is there over there. We know that we have done some wrong sometime or the other. Can anyone of us over here in this room say we have not done anything wrong in our life? None of us can. Correct? And so the Bible calls us sinners. Now you may say, how can he call me a sinner? How can the Bible call me a sinner? I commit some sins sometime here or there. But how can he call me a sinner? How can he label me a sinner? I'll ask you a question. How many murders does a person have to commit before being called a murderer? One. How many banks does a person have to rob before being called a robber? One. How many sins does a person have to commit before being called a sinner? Are we all sinners? Yes. My goodness. I'm standing and speaking to sinners. One sinner talking to other sinners. And so we are trying to find a way out. Somewhere over here. And so we all know that Jesus is saying the problem is here. We are wearing a mask, but the actual problem is here, and that problem is sin. That problem is sin. The Bible says sin is a very dangerous thing. In fact, all the problems that you see around you, the root problem, you can trace it back to sin. Why do we have families breaking apart? Sin. Why do we have people backbiting against each other? Sin. Why do we have friends backstabbing each other? Sin. Most of the problems that we go through, the root problem is sin. And so that sin has corrupted our heart, has corrupted our thinking, and so now what we think about ourselves has become distorted. No wonder we try to wear a mask, because we are not satisfied with who we are. Because we want to cover what we know has gone wrong within us. I remember, let me share from my own story. When I was a child, maybe in my 3rd standard or so, that was back in 93. We shifted from a place called Goregaon. You heard of that gaon? Goregaon? Okay. We shifted from Goregaon to Thane. And the people call this a gaon, although that is Goregaon. And so we shifted to Thane, and so it was a big change for me. It was a change in sense of location, the change of house, change of school, change of friends. So there were a lot of changes that just came along my way. And so I joined this new school, and I happened to mess around with some of the famous guys in the college. Okay, and what happens when you mess around with the famous guys? You become infamous. In short, you become infamous. And so now I have to spend 3rd standard to 10th standard with these same boys. My goodness. They made life difficult for me. They made life very difficult for me. Why one mistake? I messed up with them in my 3rd standard. So now 3rd to 10th, hooked over. And so they kept pulling my legs. So anybody who would be my friend, they would have to think twice before being this guy's friend. And so I would be very lonesome sometimes. Not that I did not have friends at all. I had friends, but I did not have the friends I wanted to have. You get the point? And so I started feeling, am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? Am I good enough to be somebody else's friend? Am I worthy? I was searching for my identity. And so I tried wearing different masks after that. So when I was a kid, we used to play a lot of cricket. How many play cricket over here? Only so many? My goodness, okay. Take it. So, and we used to play cricket during the day, so out in the sun. And so when we used to play cricket in the sun, I became very dark. Not that I'm fair now, but then I became more dark. And so my friends would call me, Karya. And so I would feel so bad. I hope you keep this in this room. I would go, no, not what I said, what I'm going to say. I would go back to my house every day, and I would take haldi and chana and put on face mask. So I tried that mask. I didn't become fair. But I thought maybe that will give me acceptance from my friends. And then I tried different hairstyles. Today I did not try this hairstyle. Somebody else did this to me. Okay. I came into the church and I went out transformed. So that's what happened to me. But I tried different hairstyles, thinking my friends will think I'm cool. Oh, look at his hairstyle. But nothing like that happened. So that also mask did not work. Then I tried another mask. I tried spending money on my friends. I thought maybe if I spend money on my friends, they would want to be with me. I have a good group and so on. With time, I only realized that my friends are interested in my money, not me. And so that mask also never worked. Now, I told you I did not have many friends, right? There would be a struggle to have friends, which means there would not be many conversations that I would be able to have with others. There would be very few conversations which I would have. So, I would not know what to talk about if I would be in a group. So, what did I start doing? Every week, I would go to the cinema hall, watch a new movie. And I would go back to my group of friends. And that would be my topic for the week. Quite crazy, isn't it? But some people do that. Why? Search for identity. Search for acceptance. And there are different people who do different things. This is my story. What else would I do? I started going to the gym, wanted to do bodybuilding. So that my friends would say, "Your body." Now six-pack has become family pack. That's another thing. But I tried doing bodybuilding just so that my friends would accept me. Then I wanted to have a girlfriend. Why? My friends would say, "Hey, stop your girlfriend." Everybody in the group has a girlfriend. Hey, mera bhi girlfriend, mera bhi girlfriend. And so it was like, that's one way of being, in the group, being one among the great guys, kinds and stuff. And then I started smoking, I started drinking, I almost got into drugs. Why? Mass. But where was the problem? Here. Then there came a point of time in my life when I was invited to a camp in Khandala, which was about God. And I went to that camp. Not because I was looking forward to it, but I happened to go to that camp. And while I was there, I encountered Jesus. I came to meet with Jesus. I'm not talking about a physical meeting like this, you know. But Jesus met me in my heart. You know, there was a time when we were worshipping, you know, and we were singing this song about how God is above all powers, above all wisdom, above all nature, above all created things, above all kings, above all kingdoms, and above everything that you can see, everything that you cannot see. God is above everything, you know, and it described God to be just above everything. You know, and then came the chorus which said, crucified, laid behind the stone. He lived to die, rejected and alone. And when I heard those words, rejected and alone, you know, I knew what I had gone through. And I said, why? Why on earth would a God care to love me so much so as to go through what I went through so that I can know that there is someone who understands me? Why would He go and be crucified for my sake? You know why He was crucified? To deal with the sin that was there in my life. The Bible says He was pierced for our transgressions, for our sins. He went on the cross. He died on the cross just so that He could deal with that sin which is there in each and every one of our hearts, so that we no longer have to wear masks. We no longer have to try to be somebody else, but we can know that what God created is good. That we can know that who you are is good. Not only good, it's amazing. It's amazing. And when I came to know that, you know, I realized I don't need a mask. You know why? Because I have God to deal with the sin here. God knew that I could never pay for my sins. And so He paid for my sins on my behalf. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, I think that's pretty amazing. You know, that's exactly what He did for the 4 people there. You know, there's a verse in the Bible that says, where God says, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. You know, many of us may have encountered people who have hearts of stone. You feel they don't feel anything. Sometimes we don't feel anything. You know, and God is saying He'll give us a heart of flesh. You know, He met the girl over here who thought she was not good enough and said, hey, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. I made you. You are beautiful. You know, and then when she looked into the mirror, she was delighted in what she saw. He met the funny guy. He removed his mask, changed his heart, you know, and told him, you're trying to look for happiness, I'm giving you joy. What is the difference between joy and happiness? Anyone? What is the difference between joy and happiness? You know, happiness is based on our happenings. If I have good happenings, I will be happy. If I have bad happenings, I will be sad. But joy means even if my situations are bad, I can be joyful. Why? Because it's God given. You know, and so God not only made him happy, God also gave him joy. You know, I'm sure many of us want to have joy in our lives, not just happiness. You know, and so a guy who was once suicidal now is looking forward to life. You know, and so that's what God did for him. Then there was the fighter whom God came and said, you don't have to fight to defend yourself. I am your defender. I am your protector. I am the one to guard you. I am the one to take care of you. I am there beside you. I am there behind you. I am there in front of you. I am there above you. I am there below you. Who can attack you? You know, there's a song that we sang. If our God is for us, then who can be against us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? You know, and that's our God for us. You know, that's Jesus for us. That's what He does for us. You know, then there was this last girl. Jesus came to her, removed her mask, changed her heart, and then He prayed for her to God the Father, and then she could see. You know what she saw? She saw Jesus was the way. And that's exactly what Jesus said. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. You know, and now she knew the way to life. Now she knew where she was heading. Now she knew how she can live her life. She knew, I don't know everything, but my God knows. And He can guide them. You know, their lives changed. Their lives changed. You know, I trust Jesus can make that difference to your life too. You know, many of you know the masks you're wearing. You know the struggles that you're going through. Maybe with certain personality traits, some character traits, or certain behavior that you have. And you know the problem. And not only you, even Jesus knows your problem. You know, and He's saying He can deal with it. He can handle it. He can take care of it. You know, it's quite amazing that we can just receive this forgiveness, which has been freely made available to us. That He'll be willing to deal with our heart, the sin in our heart. But we don't have to pay a cost for it. He paid the cost for it on the cross. And that's what He did for us. And I believe that's quite amazing. How many of you believe it's amazing? Just put your hand up. How many of you want to receive this amazing forgiveness and this work that Jesus can do in our heart? Yeah? I trust that's quite good. That's quite good. Then I have a short video to show you, which I'll just show you, and then I just want to distribute some cards to you.